Hello everyone and welcome to my first ever personality analysis video on YouTube. I have decided to finally combine two of my biggest interests, personality theory and K-pop, and today I'm here to analyze Jungkook's personality. I will be doing this through the lens of MBTI, a personality typing system that many of you might recognize as 16 personalities. However, even if you're not familiar with this system, I think this video will be informative and I'll try to explain everything in terms that are understandable to everyone. Now, when you first get to know BTS, you'll often hear Jungkook being described as the golden magnet, as the one that is just naturally talented in so many things, good at everything basically.
제가
이렇게 소개해주는 능력.
제가 여태 저도 외부 작업도 많이 하고 많은 뮤지션들이랑 이야기도 많이 해보고 하는데 제가 여태 본 뮤지션 중에 가장 재능 있는 주변의 동료들한테 항상 똑같이 이야기를 하거든요. 이 친구만큼 재능 있는 친구 못 봤다고. 다들 수긍하시더라고요.
He's good at singing, dancing, rapping, working out, sports, painting, drawing, taking and editing video, cooking, and other practical things overall. But have you ever wondered why is he so good at so many things? And I think first we have to look at what do these things that he's good at have in common? Well, they all have to do with somehow using his body to do something. And that really all stems from his present focus. You know, he's really focused on what is happening right now concretely around him, on all those sensory details that are surrounding him at every moment. So that allows him to be very aware of his body and his physical surroundings, and that in turn allows him to sort of work in this harmony with the physical environment. And this is all describing this way of processing the world called extroverted sensing. So interestingly, I was reading Jungkook's Weaver's interview, and I found some bits that really describe this process well. So Jungkook talks about being able to emulate things that he sees really well, and that's really where a lot of his talent stems from. It's where his body control stems from. He has this natural talent for emulating, for recreating things that he sees in his physical environment with his body. And he kind of talks about how he does this with singing. So right here he's describing this process, and it's very extroverted sensing. It's very much rooted in being aware of his own body and all the details, like auditory and visual details in his environment, and being able to pick those up and utilize those. Extroverted sensors are also exploratory by nature. They're excited by engaging with their physical environment, you know, experimenting and trying out new activities and getting that adrenaline kick that creates.
일단은 깊게 안 파지만 뭐든 많이 하려고 하잖아요. 저는 그 성격을 되게 부러워해요.
Jungkook also really likes that adrenaline kick. He's much more fearless when it comes to physical activities compared to other members. Extroverted sensors can often seem reckless in this way because they are so focused on the excitement of it all right now that possible future consequences or dangers easily slip their mind. Jungkook's choice to experiment with aesthetics, getting tattoos, piercings, experimental hairstyles, and unique clothing is also a sign of extroverted sensing. He likes playing around with visual details, but all of this could also be linked to his slightly rebellious side, the side of him that really values freedom and doesn't really like pointless restriction.
다시 저 머리 기르려고 지금 생각하고 있어요. 일단 첫 번째 제가 삼각김밥 시절 때는 제가 고집이 세가지고 그냥 죽어라 안 자른다고 해서 이제
받아쓰기 어릴 때도 제가 받아쓰기 한번 컨닝하다가 걸려가지고 엄마한테 허드가 맞았거든요. 한테 부모님 성격이 그래요. 제가 어릴 때 뭘 하든지 그냥 하고 싶은 거 그냥 하게 냅두셨고, 잘못된 것들 그냥 진짜 어느 누가 봐도 잘못된 그런 것들만 선을 내셨었거든요. 그게 참 저는 엄마 아빠한테 참 감사한, 그러니까 내가 하고 싶은 거 하게 해준 거가 너무 고마운 것 같아요.
In Korea, tattoos are rather taboo and considered socially unacceptable because of their context. But this hasn't stopped Jungkook from taking tattoos. Jungkook isn't really one to hold back from this type of aesthetic self-expression based on what is considered socially acceptable. It is important for him to express himself authentically. And this describes another process called introverted feeling, a decision-making style that focuses on what feels right to you, what aligns with your own values, instead of adjusting yourself to what is socially desirable. Despite his experimental and freedom-loving nature, Jungkook is naturally quite shy and closed off. Although he has come more out of his shell as he has grown up, back when he was younger, he was so shy that he wouldn't even shower until after other members had gone to bed.
네.
근데 정국이가 그때는 정말 조용하고
네.
그때는 정말 진짜 아무 말도 안 하고 화장실 샤워할 때도 진짜 멤버들이 다 잘 때 하고
낯가림이 되게
좀
심해요.
낯가림이 정말 심했어요.
He's never really been one to take control of social situations, but rather avoids taking spotlight and prefers to kind of just listen to others, unless he's on stage, of course, which is when his extroverted sensing seems to kind of kick in. But yeah, other members have also described him as someone who struggles with expressing his emotions.
누군가에게 자기의 마음 그리고 진심을 표현한다는 건 정말 어려운 것 같습니다.
But this doesn't mean that Jungkook isn't actually emotional internally. In fact, both he and other members have described him as a very emotional person. He easily cries in movies, on stage, when made to express his emotions. As you get to know Jungkook, you start to notice how sensitive he actually is. He's easily touched by music, by fans, by those closest to him. I would actually describe him as rather sentimental, to an extent that other members aren't. Like, all of the members can be quite emotional, some more than others, but I think Jungkook feels things stronger than the others actually internally, and he seems a bit more even sentimental about things than some of the other members. This strong emotional side is also visible in his art. He conveys emotional states and atmospheres beautifully through videos, paintings, and music. I think that this stems from his vivid, clear, nuanced internal emotions, because he experiences and recognizes his emotions with sort of such nuance. He can also recreate those emotions in the form of art. Now, everything that I've described here is also linked to the process I described before, which is introverted feeling. Introverted feelers are focused on what they are feeling internally and can hence distinguish their own emotions from other people's emotions easily. They experience emotions in a somewhat heightened and nuanced way, and because of that they are able to identify and categorize them easily. Introverted feeling is also, surprise surprise, an introverted process, which means that it is subjective and it's occurring internally. So people who have introverted feeling as their preferred process are hence more focused on what is happening inside of them, which might make them more introverted because they can be a bit more disconnected from the world in that sense. So some reasons why some introverted feelers may appear pretty closed off and often have a tendency to bottle up their emotions are the following. So because their emotions are so dear to them, the idea of expressing this integral part of them out loud can leave them feeling quite vulnerable and exposed. I believe this is what makes Jungkook sometimes appear more closed off. The idea of expressing his emotions can be intimidating. Introvert feelers can also feel misunderstood. They feel that other people won't really understand them if they do open up. And a lot of times introverted feelers can also feel that their deep and complex emotions can't fully and accurately be conveyed by just explaining them to other people. So they might often resort to conveying them through different art forms, which is something that I think Jungkook also does. And because Jungkook has extroverted sensing as his second mental process, he tends to combine these two processes to create visual and auditory art. But Jungkook isn't just someone who lives for the present, who simply takes things at face value. He also does have this more contemplative side to him, a side that I feel has developed more as he has grown. There is a side to him that analyzes what he is seeing, that tries to understand why. Why is something happening? What is something truly caused by? What are things really at their core? And this signals another process called introverted intuition. Introverted intuition takes in all the sensory data observed by extroverted sensing and tries to deduce meanings from it. It desires to simplify data by finding patterns and commonalities between all the different data points. This allows introverted intuition to understand, as I like to call it, the root of this observed phenomena, so what everything that they're seeing is really caused by. In a live stream, Jungkook mentioned how he believes that everything is already planned out.
운명을 믿나? 운명을 믿니? 저는 솔직히 말해서 이 사람 인생이라는 건 다 플랜이 짜여 있다고 생각해요. 봐봐요. 내가 일단 데자뷰를 꼬아요 많이. 근데 그게 내가 진짜 똑같이 봤던 거를 실제로 봐요. 진짜로. 뻥이 아니라 진짜로. 진짜 명확하게 정확하게 내가 겪은 일도 절대 아니고 정말 새로운 일인데 그거를 본다니까요. 그래서 나는 이제 그거가 몇 번이나 있었어요, 제가. 그래서 저는 운명이란 걸 믿고.
I think that this also showcases introverted intuition. He has come up with this rather abstract theory or gut feeling of how things are based on these patterns that he has observed. And this shows that he isn't just completely grounded in what is happening right now, but he's also able to and even desires to think outside of that, to imagine something outside of the physically tangible and realistic. And it also shows this kind of desire to connect the dots to really understand what's going on beneath all of this that we are just experiencing. So yeah, definitely I think signals introverted intuition. Now, someone who prefers introverted feeling will always have extroverted thinking in their fourth position, meaning that this is something that they struggle with. Extroverted thinking is a decision-making process that is focused on reaching goals. It sees the world as a system, as a means to reaching these goals. Extroverted thinking is impersonal. It's very productive, efficient, and objective, and it kind of views everything as a resource to be used. Now, Jungkook's low extroverted thinking is visible in how he makes decisions. He kind of makes decisions based on what his heart tells him to do, based on feelings, emotions, rather than what will objectively be the most likely to get results. So, for example, his decision to join Big Hit illustrates this. Jungkook was given the opportunity to join some of the most influential, the biggest labels in K-pop, which were almost guaranteed to make him successful, or more successful at least, than the unknown label Big Hit, which he chose to join.
저희보다 컸던 회사들을 다 마다하고 저희 회사에 온 거는 참 신의 한 수였죠. 그때 랩몬 형이 너무 멋있어가지고 가고 싶었거든요. 그래서 이현님도 보고 되게 좋겠다 해서 여기로 가겠습니다 하고 마음을 굳혔었어요.
And the reason why he chose Big Hit was because he was inspired by RM's rap. RM made him feel this strong positive emotion, which made him feel like joining Big Hit, so he did. So we're seeing this pattern of kind of following your heart, following what feels right to you, and also being pretty spontaneous, not really thinking that much about what the potential consequences of your decisions might be, which again shows extroverted sensing. When Jungkook is asked to tell what he struggles with or what he's not good at, he often brings up being lazy or not being able to allocate time to things that he doesn't like.
저도 못하는 거 많은데 굳이 하나 못하는 거 있다면은
굳이 하나?
약간 집중력이 없는 거? 제가 좋아하는 거 빼면은 좋아하는 거 말고는 집중을 거의 못해요. 약간 하고 싶은 거 많은데 약간 끈기가 없다는 거.
하고 싶은 건 많은데 끈기가 없어요.
어떻게 다들 인정하시나요?
인정하죠. 인정합니다.
끈기가 없어요?
또 잘하긴 또 잘해.
좋아하는 것만 해서.
And I think that also stems from his lacking extroverted thinking, which is just about getting things done. It doesn't mean if you don't like it, it's like if it brings results, you're gonna get it done. Whereas introverted feeling is a lot more about doing things that are valuable to you and things that personally connect with you, that you kind of feel like doing. And Jungkook is exactly describing this problem with doing things that he doesn't really feel a personal connection to, or that he doesn't feel like doing in the moment, and that again reflects this lacking TE and prioritizing introverted feeling. And I think a lot of this also stems from his extroverted sensing, which is focused on the present, what feels fun now, and not really, what's gonna pay off in the far future. So people with extroverted sensing easily get kind of swept away in the moment and distracted by, what's around them and how they can engage with the physical environment right now. So to wrap it up, I believe Jungkook to be an ISFP personality type. This means that he has dominant introverted feeling, auxiliary extroverted sensing, tertiary introverted intuition, and inferior extroverted thinking. I hope that you all enjoyed my video. Please tell me if something about my formatting or explanations was confusing or too long-winded or something like that, because I hope to make my style of delivery, making this personality analysis, more clear and easy to understand in the future. It's not my strength. I tend to explain things in a very long-winded way, sometimes in an overly complicated way, because my way of thinking, it's a little bit like overcomplicated, I would say. But I think that can kind of damage the viewer experience, so please give me like constructive criticism on that, and also tell me which member you would wish me to analyze in my next video. Thanks for watching, and bye bye.